There are cities, and then there are cages dressed as cities. At first glance, this world looks flawless, gleaming towers, spotless streets, skies without a blemish. But this illusion is only for those who live above. This world is built on division. Two halves, one rotten truth. Above, the rich enjoy luxury so excessive, they discard perfectly working tech just because the paint chipped. Below, in the shadows of that paradise, lie the slums, a place where people are treated no better than the trash they're buried in. And between them is the pit. The pit is no myth. It's real. A bottomless abyss where everything unwanted ends up. Garbage, machines, animals, people. You commit a crime, you go to the pit, you fall out of favor, you go to the pit, you break down, same story. And then there's Rudo. He doesn't live in the city. He doesn't belong there. He was born into the slums, raised among broken things and broken people. But unlike most, he doesn't see trash as waste. He sees it as potential. Every week, Rudo climbs, crawls, and risks his life to sneak into the junkyards of the city. Those cold, mechanical halls where rich people send everything they've discarded. Why? Because to him, broken doesn't mean worthless. A cracked lantern, a torn stuffed animal, an old radio, these are things people once loved. He repairs them. He gives them new life. It's his way of showing that not everything discarded should be forgotten, but that belief makes him a criminal. One night he's caught. He was digging through a pile of discarded electronics when a guard storms in. He calls Rudo filth, vermin, a degenerate, but Rudo doesn't respond. He's used to it. Every Tuesday, someone calls him a disgrace. When the alarms go off and guards pour in, Rudo hurls garbage at them. It's funny, they're so obsessed with cleanliness. One touch of raw eggs makes them recoil like vampires from holy water. He escapes, barely, leaping, rolling, sprinting through underground tunnels and vents. Not because he loves danger, because he believes that everyone deserves a second chance. Back in the slums, he returns with his findings and sets up his little stall. Nobody thanks him. Most ignore him. Some mock him. He wears thick black gloves, always. People say they're filthy, cursed, haunted. They don't know the truth. They're holding something inside. Something even Rudo doesn't fully understand. Enter Chiwa. She's one of the few who still talks to him like he's human. One of the few who cares. She yells at him for taking risks. He tells her, they throw out good things. Someone has to save them. She doesn't say anything at first, but her eyes soften. She understands. But then 3 boys show up. They sneer at him, wrinkle their noses, call him garbage. They insult his gloves, his shop, even the lantern he just fixed. But the moment they bring up his past, his father, who they claim was a murderer, something in Rudo snaps. He doesn't move, doesn't speak, just stares. And that stare is enough. The bullies run. Their courage drains, but their words remain. You'll end up like your dad. It hurts because Rudo doesn't even know the truth. All he's ever known is the pain in his hands and the quiet love of the man who raised him. Raito, his adoptive father, the only family he has. That night, Rudo returns home with a gift. The toy puppy he found, cleaned and fixed. It's for Chiwa, but Rato's already waiting, grinning. He saw the whole thing, teases him for being nervous. But then he turns serious. You don't have to do this, Rudo. We're okay. You don't owe me anything. Rudo says nothing for a moment, then replies quietly, I'm just doing my part. Raito tends to Rudo's wounds, changes his bandages, talks about Chiwa, about love, about future. Rudo stares at his hands again. They burn sometimes, ache. These gloves suppress the pain but not the shame. People always feared his hands, even when he was a child. Tell her how you feel, Raito urges, before someone else does. Rudo laughs, nervous, hopeful. Tomorrow, he'll do it, and he does. He walks to Chiwa's house, puppy in hand. But before he can speak, a procession passes. A criminal being thrown into the pit. The punishment for murder, for being unfit. Rudo watches, shaken. Chiwa appears. She warns him, begs him to stop taking risks. Even if it's for a good reason, don't throw your life away. Then she says something that hits him harder than a bullet. Raito loves you, so do I. Rudo freezes. His brain lags behind. Did she mean that? Did she slip? She panics. He stammers, but he offers the puppy toy anyway. Chiwa accepts, smiles, says she'll treasure it. Rudo walks home euphoric. His heart is racing. His soul feels light. He rushes through the slums, eager to tell Rito. But when he opens the door, he sees blood. Rito lies on the ground, eyes wide, gasping. A masked man stands over him, knife in hand. Rudo charges, but the killer hits him so hard he blacks out. When he wakes, it's too late. Rito is dying. His voice is faint. Run, he says. Don't let this world break you. Change it. Then, silence. The only person who ever loved him is gone, and then the guards arrive. They don't care about the blood trail leading away. They don't ask questions. They don't even look for the masked man. They see Rudo and a corpse. That's enough. He begs them to listen, to find the killer, to check the street cameras, to just look. They punch him, drag him, mock him. The next day, Rudo stands at the edge of the pit, chained, judged, condemned. The people cheer. The judge announces his sentence with dramatic flair. Murder, a crime of the highest order. The punishment is death. Rudo's eyes scan the crowd. They land on Chiwa. He screams her name. I didn't do it, I swear. Please, believe me. She stares at him, silent, then drops the puppy toy he gave her and turns away. In that moment, Rudo breaks, not from the pain, not from the betrayal, from the truth that no one ever saw him, that no one wanted to. He looks at the crowd and snarls, "You call me trash? You're worse. You're the filth. Mindless meat with no soul." Then he sees something, the masked man. He's there, in the crowd. Rudo points, yells, but no one listens. Then the platform opens, and he falls. Down, down, into the abyss. Time stretches, thought fades, then impact. But he doesn't die. He lands on mounds of garbage. He rises, dazed, confused, breathing, alive, but why? He looks around, a sea of twisted metal, rotten food, scrapped machines, the graveyard of the world. Then a shadow falls over him, something massive, eyes glowing, teeth gnashing, a creature made of trash, a demon born from the same rot that raised him. Rudo stares, unblinking. They threw him away, but they didn't destroy him. They forged him. And now, he's going to climb back. And when he returned, he won't be the same boy who begged for mercy. He'll be the god they feared, and the world will burn.
What happens when the world decides you're worthless and throws you away? This is the story of Rudo, a boy cast into a pit that isn't just full of garbage. It is hell, a place of poisonous air, hideous creatures born from humanity's neglect, and despair so thick it chokes the soul. But within this pit, something awakens, something powerful, something alive, and it begins with one question. Why does everyone obsess over sending trash down here, but never wonder what happens after? What they don't know, what Rudo is about to find out, is that hell has monsters, and it doesn't forget the people who created them. So buckle up, because in this story, death is just the beginning, and revenge is forged from rusted metal and raw rage. Rudo's eyes scan the grotesque landscape as his boots slide down a collapsing mound of waste. Mountains of broken machines, plastic, metal, rotting food, and even bones stretch across the horizon. But what catches his eye is something far worse. A towering creature made entirely of trash and sludge, standing like a god among garbage. This is the bottom of the pit, the place where the people from the floating city, the sphere, discard everything they no longer want. Trash, criminals, the sick, the poor, all dumped like waste. No second thoughts, no regrets. Rudo remembers thinking how strange it was that no one ever asked what happened after the drop. No curiosity, no guilt, as if throwing it away made it disappear. But down here, nothing disappears. Everything festers, and sometimes it grows teeth. Suddenly, a roar splits the silence. The massive creature lurches toward him, and with it, more abominations rise. Arms stitched from metal rods, eyes glowing like dying embers, skin made of sludge and broken parts. He runs. Every breath feels heavier, every step slower. Rudo scrambles over rusted beams and shattered glass, but it's no use. The creatures are closing in. He trips, lands hard, and his face hits a skull. Human, cleaned by time. That's when he realizes this place isn't just a dump, it's a graveyard, and he's next. Rudo scrambles to his feet, heart hammering, lungs burning. He's managed to roll down into a pit within the pit. A small ledge keeps the monsters away for now, but this so-called safety brings a new enemy, the air. It's thick, heavy, wrong. His chest tightens as if the atmosphere itself is trying to claw inside. He covers his nose and mouth with his gloves, coughing violently. The pain is instant. Blood splatters the trash beneath him. His lungs feel like they're on fire. He tries to crawl forward, but the dizziness worsens. Every breath brings him closer to death. And yet, somehow, that's not what terrifies him most. It's the silence. He looks around. There's no shelter, no clean space, no signs of life, just rot. Everything reeks of decay, not just physically, but morally. This is where hope goes to die. He vomits, blood, and the sound echoes across the metallic canyon. That's when the monsters hear him again. They begin to stir, groans, screeches, metal grinding against bone. And Rudo, he can't move. His limbs are too weak. His lungs too shredded. He feels the darkness closing in. So this is it, he thinks. This is how it ends. A forgotten corpse beneath a mountain of trash. But then, just as the monsters close in, ready to rip him apart, something strange happens. Just as his vision starts to blur, something flickers in the corner of his eye. A faint glow, soft but pulsing, coming from the trash itself. At first, Rudo thinks he's hallucinating, but then he sees it clearly. A strange light emanating from a pile of junk and from an iron pipe nearby. It calls to him, not in words, but with presence, with intent. Somehow he feels it. This object isn't just metal, it's something alive. Driven by instinct, he crawls toward the pipe. His fingers graze it, and a surge of energy runs up his arm. Not electric, not magic, something older, rawer, power. He grabs the pipe and rises, barely able to stand. His body screams in pain, but his eyes blaze with something new. Purpose, I won't die here, he says. I'll go back. I'll make them pay for throwing me away, for killing my father. A monster charges toward him. A towering beast of fused appliances and rotted meat. Rudo doesn't flinch. He swings the pipe, and it connects with a thunderous crack, launching the monster backward. The impact doesn't just stun the creature, it surprises Rudo. He didn't just hit the monster. The pipe responded. It wanted to be used. Something inside him has changed. But he isn't alone. Unbeknownst to him, someone watches from the shadows. Intrigued by the boy who wields trash like a blade, Rudo's rage boils over. He doesn't know what's happening to him, only that he's alive. And for the first time in his life, he's dangerous. He rushes into the swarm of monsters, pipe in hand, howling like a madman. They try to crush him, slash at him, tear him apart, but he doesn't stop. He swings, spins, smashes. Even when one of the beasts hurls him into a jagged rock wall, he pushes himself up, blood trickling from his forehead. Pain means nothing now. His body moves faster than ever before, driven by adrenaline and fury. Another monster lunges, pinning him to the ground. Rudo screams, not in fear, but defiance, and punches it in the face with the pipe still in hand. Boom! It stumbles back, reeling, but then his body falters. His breathing is sharp, ragged. The poison in the air returns to claim its toll. He doubles over, coughing up blood again. Two more monsters emerge, closing in. Rudo's strength is failing, but just as the beasts prepare to strike, the glow returns. That same mysterious energy bursts from his core, swirling around him. His eyes flash. The ground beneath his feet trembles. His pipe vibrates in his grip. He doesn't dodge. He doesn't run. He stands. And when the two monsters collide with him, he counters in one swift, precise motion. One he doesn't even remember performing. Their bodies collapse. One of them is cleaved in half. The other explodes. And Rudo doesn't even blink. Just when Rudo thinks he's safe, a shadow looms above him. He opens his eyes and finds a man standing there. Tall, silent, wearing a strange, almost eerie mask. Before he can react, the man throws something at him, a gas mask. Rudo instinctively puts it on, and instantly, the burning in his lungs eases. Air returns, clarity follows. "Who are you?" he asks. "Where did you come from?" No answer. The man shushes him, whispering for silence. But Rudo's never been good at taking orders. He raises his voice again. "Are we underground?" The man suddenly snaps. "No," he says, voice cold and sharp. "This isn't underground. This is above the surface." Rudo stares, dumbfounded. "What?" the masked man continues. "The sphere floats in the sky, far above. The people up there dumped everything they didn't want, all their trash, all their problems, until it poisoned the land, created monsters, turned the air into death." Rudo's mind reels. Everything he knew flipped upside down. "And thanks to you shouting," the man adds, "they heard us." He points. A monster begins creeping toward them. They hunt by sound. You just rang the dinner bell. As the creature charges, the masked man steps forward. Calm, precise, he raises his umbrella, and then it glows. Golden energy surges from his arm, coating the umbrella like molten fire. With one spin, he grinds the creature's face into dust. Rudo watches, stunned. What is this guy? The umbrella spins again, its golden energy slicing through the monster like butter. But what shocks Rudo most is what happens next. The monster doesn't regenerate. Its pieces crumble into ash, disintegrating with the wind. That's unheard of. Everything down here regenerates. But this umbrella. It finishes them. "Who are you?" Rudo asks, voice barely a whisper. The masked man, Injin, doesn't answer. Not directly. Instead, he charges into the swarm of trash monsters now rushing toward them. With swift, fluid movements, he shreds through them. Every spin of his bladed umbrella ends another creature. He launches into the air, drifting like a parachute, and lands with a thud behind the final beast. The monster spits acid, a deadly projectile that detonates on contact. Injin counters with a twirl of the umbrella, scattering the acid mid-air. The surrounding garbage catches fire as it erupts. Then, using the monster's head as a springboard, he jumps even higher. The umbrella expands, powered by golden energy, transforming into a giant spinning blade. He dives straight down, one clean slash, and the monster is cleaved in two. Even the ground splits beneath it. Rudo watches in awe. This isn't just power, it's skill, precision, control. When Injin returns, Rudo finally blurts out the question, "Who the hell are you?" Injin removes his mask and replies with a grin, "Just a cleaner." But before Rudo can process anything, the air poisons him again. He collapses, gasping, and once again, the darkness returns. As Rudo slips into unconsciousness, a memory from his childhood surfaces, one both painful and beautiful. He remembers returning home, bruised and soaked after being shoved into a sewer by bullies. Why? Because he claimed that objects have souls. They laughed, mocked him, beat him. At home, Rudo, the man who raised him, was waiting. Rudo asked, "Is it true? Do things really come alive when treated with care?" Rudo smiled, quietly cleaning his wounds. "It's just a legend," he said, "but I like to believe it's true. I like to think everything has a soul, even things people throw away." Rudo looked at his gloves. Worn, old, but cared for. He nodded. He wanted to believe too. When he wakes, he finds himself shackled again, being dragged by Injin across the wasteland. Rudo protests, furious. He wants to return to the sphere, to get revenge, but Injin shuts that down fast. "You can't go back. The sphere moves through the sky, always shifting. There's no way up." But Rudo refuses to accept it. His voice rises. He threatens to keep shouting until monsters arrive. Injin scowls. Then, without another word, he dumps Rudo in a strangely clean clearing and walks away. Alone again, but not for long. Gas-masked men emerge from nearby trucks. They circle him, whispering, examining his clothes. "He's from the sphere," one says. They remove their masks, smiling. Too friendly. Far too friendly. At first, Rudo thinks they might be saviors, but then they chain him tighter and everything clicks. They aren't rescuers, they're scavengers, vultures, and he's prey. Excited chatter surrounds him. "He's a live spherite," one of them says. "We've only ever found bodies before. This one's fresh." They talk about selling him, not just him, but his parts, his organs, his clothes, even his teeth, all for profit. Why? Because the people below hate those who live above. To them, spherites are the reason for their suffering. The floating elite who dumped their waste, poisoned their air, created the monsters, and then floated away. Rudo tries to protest, tries to move, but he's bound. Their leader approaches, mocking him. "You rich boys can't handle garbage, can you?" He sneers. "Let's feed you like we feed our dogs." He tries to shove rotten meat into Rudo's mouth. Big mistake. Rudo bites his fingers, tears off a chunk of flesh, chews it, and smiles. "This isn't garbage," he growls. "It's still food." The men recoil in horror. Their prisoner is smiling, eating rotten meat, enjoying it. Then the glow returns, chains rattle, power erupts, and Rudo breaks free. He grabs the chain that once bound him and infuses it with his energy, transforming it into a living weapon. Injin watches from afar, eyes wide with satisfaction. Rudo is a giver, a rare person who can breathe life into dead objects and turn trash into tools of destruction. The raiders panic, trying to regroup. "Target the chain," their leader shouts. "A giver is nothing without his object." They manage to disarm Rudo, knocking the chain aside, but he just laughs. He grabs a nearby tire and turns that into a weapon. Even Injin is stunned. Most givers can only power a single item. Rudo is powering anything he touches. Instinctively, effortlessly, he launches into the crowd, smashing, swinging, devastating everyone in his path. The raiders flee, some beg, others cry. Their leader is the last to fall to his knees, cursing as Rudo looms over him. Rudo raises the tire weapon for the final blow, but just before he strikes, Injin appears. Enough! His voice cuts through the chaos. Rudo stops, just for a moment, and that's all it takes. The tire crumbles to ash, the glow fades, and Rudo collapses, gasping. His body is pushed past its limit. His nose bleeds. His vision swims. He's shaking. Injin kneels beside him. That power, he says, it drains you. Use it recklessly and it will kill you. Rudo glares at him. Why did you let this happen? Injin smiles faintly. I needed to be sure. He helps Rudo up. I'll explain everything, he promises, about this world, about your power, about the monsters. But I need something in return. Rudo stares at Injin. What do you want? He asks. Injin steps back, eyes sharp. Join us. Join the cleaners. Rudo blinks. The what? The ones who fight back, Injin explains. The ones who clean up this mess. The ones who protect the few people left who still deserve to live. It's a lot, too much. Rudo looks around at the monsters, the filth, the broken world. He remembers Rito, his words, his kindness. He remembers betrayal, pain, rage. He remembers being thrown away like trash. And now, someone wants him to save the very world that discarded him? He doesn't respond, not yet, but something in his eyes has changed. Thrown away, hunted, betrayed, and yet reborn. Rudo is no longer a discarded boy. He's a giver, a force of reckoning, a soul who gives life to what others see as worthless. But his journey has just begun. Will he rise to protect the world that ruined him or destroy it from within? Only time and rage will tell. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another epic story breakdown.